Our beloved 8% Hard AF Seltzer is now live in over 2,500 locations across the United States. We're now available in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, Ohio, Idaho, Illinois, Michigan, Montana, Oregon, and Texas. Go to hardafseltzer.com today, click on the store locator, enter your city or zip, and find the nearest location closest to you. Welcome to Drinkin Bros, presented by GhostBed.com. Yeah, welcome to the Monday Morning Recap, everybody. Brought to you by MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin Bros doubles that first deposits all the way up to $1,000. Get off the couch and get into the action today with MyBookie.com. Big weekend in college football. A lot to celebrate. Ohio State's going to have a home game in the playoffs. Anything else happen this weekend?
Birds flying high.
Yeah.
You know how I feel.
Yep. So obviously we'll start with the Ohio State game in college football. We did a live cast for it. Told you exactly what was going to happen before the game. If you don't throw the ball, it's exactly what's going to happen. I'm pissed off that they're in.
The game.
I hate it is. It is the game, and it's fine. But you lose, and you should be out. That is it.
We're going to have to readjust our expectations of college football because super conferences, playing better matchups in the regular season, teams are just going to lose now. Plus, the talent's all spread out through the country with NIL.
I don't think it is. And I'll tell you, look.
How can you say that?
It's just proven
me personally,
to be true.
I don't think so. I think Oregon is the best team we've seen all year round. Now they're going to get penalized for it, having to play all this extra bullshit.
But in previous years, the clear best team would not have beaten Boise State at home by 3 points. So it's just not true.
But they're undefeated.
They are undefeated, but
and Boise State is a great football team.
They're not. They have one great player.
So Oregon, if they lose the Big Ten championship game, would, I guess, get like super punished. But they only have to play one extra game if they get the bye.
If they get the bye,
yeah.
But look.
Which I think they will.
Go back to the original, when it was just two teams. And then we said, oh, man, people bitch because maybe there was a third one year. And it's like, all right, well, the only fair thing to do is have four. We switched to that in 2014, 2015. Switched to that, had four teams.
13 or 14.
8 out of 10 games were a blowout in that first playoff game. One of those teams clearly never deserved ever to be there. And then here's what we're left with. So
it was usually
how
Notre
did it
Dame.
Get better? Yeah, Notre Dame.
It's a different era. It's going to be more like college basketball, where there's going to be this illusion that way more teams can win, right? A lot of teams are going to get in. There's going to be upsets here and there. But really, if you kind of look back, it's the name brands that are still going to win the national championship.
Yeah, we looked at this century. We were talking this conversation off mic. We looked at this century of college basketball champions, and I'd say there was probably 4 randos, and the rest were name brands.
And they're not even really randos.
And one of the randos was
Louisville.
coached by Rick Pitino. Baylor's random. Virginia's random. And then Louisville was still coached by Rick Pitino, and I don't remember who the fourth one was off the top of my head. But
yeah, the talent's spread out now.
I don't think it is.
Way more
I think it's like the Major League Baseball playoffs where you're seeing these dog shit teams get in, and they had an extra game, and it's like we all thought the Phillies were the best team last year.
But Ohio
didn't
State
even get out of the first round.
You're complaining about Ohio State getting in.
I'm complaining
they are a top 4 team in the country.
I forget, but all of them getting in. Georgia getting in. No way.
Why?
Not a fucking prayer.
They beat Georgia Tech, and they have the best win in the country against Texas.
Tech is not a great football team. They're 7-5, same as Michigan.
I would say
fine.
there's probably no school in the country that has a better resume than Georgia.
Yeah.
Than the University of Georgia?
Yeah.
Even in a 7 overtime game where they didn't score on what?
They have the best win in the country, dominated in Texas, at Texas.
They beat Tennessee.
They
And their
beat
2
Clemson.
losses are close losses on the road in the SEC. Like, their losses they don't have bad losses.
That was not a close game at Alabama.
They had the lead in the fourth quarter with like 2 minutes left. They were winning.
They were down by 20
until they were winning.
24 points in the fourth quarter.
They were winning. In the fourth quarter, that's
Bama
a close game.
had just given up at that point.
It doesn't matter. They were winning. That's a close game. If you're winning in the fourth quarter, that's a close game.
So then the Eagles, was that a close game?
The Eagles were winning
the Ravens.
Yeah, they were winning the entire time.
Yeah. But what was the final score?
But the Ravens never took the lead in the fourth quarter.
But I could sit here and tell you it was a 1-score game.
There's a difference between being a one-score game and literally leading in the fourth quarter. That is a huge, and not even leading the fourth quarter, leading late in the fourth quarter. That's a humongous gulf of difference.
In the middle of the fourth quarter, they were up by 24. The other team was up by 24 points.
But then what happened?
Then they lost the lead.
They weren't. That's a comeback. They came back. They were winning.
That's a momentum comeback. That's not a skill comeback, right?
They were one stop from winning the game, and they didn't get it.
Because the other team just gave up in the fourth quarter.
When Alabama decided to try again, there was a clear winner.
There's no switch that is like flipped that they're like not trying. Like the entire time the defense is out there trying to stop Georgia.
I would totally grant you this if it was just a comeback that fell short. But they had a chance to win the game by being in the lead late.
I don't think Georgia is particularly good, to be honest.
They have a very real possibility of winning the national championship.
Other than Oregon, what team is better than Georgia?
Well, that's not the conversation we're having, right? We're talking about is there a crop of elite teams, or is Oregon on an island by itself?
I don't think they are, though. I think Oregon is on par with Ohio State, Georgia.
Yeah, they're clearly on par with Ohio State.
I think you got to take Ohio State out because of their injuries.
You cannot,
honestly,
that's not a team that deserves to be in it.
I'm not saying that you take them out of the playoff because there probably aren't 11 other teams that are better than them, much less 12.
But the year Ohio State won the national championship, they lost to a 6-6 Virginia Tech. They also made the playoff with a third-string quarterback.
Well,
we've said that over and over. They should not have gone to the fight. There wasn't four good teams that year.
That doesn't matter.
Do you not claim that natty?
I always say it's a miracle. We always say it's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle.
We've set a precedent last year with Florida State. Their best player goes out. We remove them from competition because you know they can't win. And I think it was the right decision then, and it would be a right decision now to at least have a conversation about the fact that Ohio State can't compete against Oregon, against probably Texas, probably against Georgia as well.
Anybody with any form of a defense?
Probably not against Georgia either.
They still beat Indiana. Like they're still beating these top 10 teams.
Do you think Indiana's a top 10 team?
Yes.
No.
Top 15 for sure.
They're definitely top 15. Yeah.
They have one loss.
But they're going to the playoffs, guys.
What we're discussing right now is what Delco just said. The talent is spread out. There's more parity now, and this is the result of it. Like Ohio State 5 years ago, they lose a couple of dudes on the line. They're probably still the second best team in the country. But the fact is, they're not anymore.
It undercuts the depth.
Yeah. Because those like 8 fucking 4- and 5-star linemen that you get in any given year, well, 3 of them are now going to smaller schools because they want to play.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's actually not NIL that's doing this. No, those guys aren't getting paid.
That's the transfer portal.
Yes, it is the cutting out of the
and good. Because we don't have Joe Burrow. It's not a thing without the transfer portal. He doesn't. It's Quinn Ewers. We don't have him without that.
I have a ticket on Oregon to win the national championship. I don't feel confident in that at all.
They could get beat for sure.
I saw a brutal meme from UT this weekend after they beat after Ohio State lost, which was Quinn Ewers is the only member of Ohio State's 2021 recruiting class to beat Michigan.
It's
true. Yeah,
and it's true. But now what do they get rewarded with? A home playoff game. It'll be at noon. It'll be against Miami.
But we're having two. These are two different competitions.
Like an 8 now.
We'll see. We'll see tomorrow night.
That's a home. That's a home game. 7 and 8, 6, 7, 8 are home games.
We'll see tomorrow night how it all shakes out. But we're having two separate conversations. One is, does Ohio State deserve to be in this new 12-team format? Yes, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The other one is there any possibility of them actually winning? I don't think that is possible because the coaching is bad. The coaching is exceptionally bad,
and the line is not coming back.
Fucked.
Are they out for the year?
All of them have been out for the year.
There's 3 guys that are out.
Their backups are out for the year.
There's one.
They don't even have. They're all out for the year.
There's one
ACLs.
There's one dude that might come back, but it's like 3 of their starting offensive linemen are done.
Okay, so it's not like they're out a couple weeks.
No. And
so are the backups.
And think of it this way: is one quarterback for Florida State worth 3 offensive linemen? I think I got to say that's pretty equal, frankly, right? So we're not. I think the problem is the auto bids. That doesn't make any sense. The top 5
conference. There should be a reward for that.
There should be a reward for it, certainly in seeding. But if you win the Big 12 and nobody in the Big 12 is ranked, you don't get to fucking play in the CFP.
That's how it goes. That's already how it goes.
Yeah, I know, but if you're like 25th and you win the Big 12, you get in. That's not
Arizona State's going to be like
absolutely
12
not
this week. So, I mean, I tend to agree. Arizona State or Iowa State's probably not worthy of a playoff spot.
But then again, who would be worthy in exchange? Like, I mean, South Carolina probably.
They're not getting in.
Here's the thing, though. Alabama's more worthy than South Carolina.
Well,
on resume.
I think both of those teams should be in.
Right.
When you run the numbers,
Like
out of those three,
Iowa State
Ole
should not be
Miss.
anywhere near that. I would say Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Alabama deserve to be in the CFP. Indiana doesn't. There's no way. I mean, look, they won. I guess they do because they won the games they played. But come on, man.
But there's also just no way to balance out the schedules, right? Like
Well, I
Big
mean,
12
college basketball does it.
SEC. You got to figure out.
Well,
You got
they do
to
it
make
by-
the conferences even then.
What
You
do
gotta,
they call it? The
figure out how
by-
to make every
like
conference
a
even.
A Big 12 team will get in barely over 500 because they went through the fucking gauntlet.
So what's it? The FPI that ESPN uses? The something?
Yeah.
Something.
No, because
performance?
they have a committee now.
No, this is for basketball.
Oh, yeah.
For basketball, they do that, but it's so the FPI ranking changes all throughout the year.
Because
Right,
teams
and
play each other at the beginning of the season because losing to like a Kansas or a Duke early on means nothing. It's
Shit,
like,
losing to anybody.
But if I win that game, though, it's a huge resume
like Duke,
builder, right?
Correct.
Duke just lost to fucking not Duke,
KU.
but Connecticut just lost to fucking Memphis and who else back
Duke's
to back?
losing a couple
Colorado.
games.
Colorado and Memphis back to back. No one cares.
Our sweet boy
that'll
Cooper
have
Flag is
that will
losing
have
games.
no effect on whether or not UConn is in at least the Final Four because they'll be in at least the Final Four.
So
right?
they ran an FPI for those bubble teams, and it was Bama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina.
They're better than like Indiana. They're probably better than Penn
Right,
State.
but only one of them is getting in.
Penn State's third.
And the FBI says it should be Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I can promise you, with everything inside of me, is not getting in the fucking playoff over Bama because they do not have the ratings to do it.
Ole Miss also has the capability of being one of the best teams in the country and one of the worst teams in the country.
That's bad. I mean, you say bad coaching. They're well coached, but he's not a great coach. Like we talked about this before. The great coaches make changes on the fly during
Yes.
the game.
Yep.
And he just can't do it.
I think
man.
he's maxed out his ceiling.
Yeah.
Like you're getting everything out of Lane that you can get.
He's a good coach, though.
Yeah.
He's a good recruiter, and he's a
You're Ole
good.
Miss. You can't ask for anything better.
I would be completely happy with Lane Kiffin as my coach. Ole Miss. I
And
said
to be
this
honest,
before,
if the stars align one year, they could absolutely win a title.
100%.
They could do it this year. To be honest, if they got
100%.
in.
And the
but-
SEC is so big now that you could get like a Texas-like schedule where you don't. Texas ain't played nobody, Paul, in the SEC.
well, they have now.
They have now. They just beat
Yeah.
A&M
They
at
finally-
home in a night game.
Dominated.
And
I mean, look, the score doesn't really reflect it, but they butt fucked A&M. in this
Dominate.
game.
Yeah, it was bad.
From start to finish.
Did A&M
Especially the defense. This is the best I've seen Texas defense look in any game this season.
0 offensive points, right?
186 yards out of the running back.
0 offensive points. Yeah, it was like it was
Yeah.
kind of a weird I don't know why he threw that ball. It was a bad throw and it got tipped. It's like, damn, dude. Everything went wrong on that play. I liked how they were putting Arch in to run the ball though.
Yeah,
Because
just in case.
he's
T-bowing
not
him.
he's not like Alex Orji. You put in Arch Manning to run the ball on the goal line, he could still throw it probably better than yours, to be honest, right?
So that was what Florida did the year they beat Ohio State in the Natty. Tebow would come in
What was
for
that?
these.
for the
09?
jump pass.
With
yeah.
Chris
09?
Leak.
When Chris
08,
Leak was
yeah.
their starter, they would put
Also,
Tebow
Chris
in
Leak,
for these.
vindicated, right?
Not
Not a sexual predator.
One of 2 Florida quarterbacks to have his
To actually
child
not
porn
commit
charges
crimes?
dropped.
Yeah.
What?
To actually not commit crimes.
Yeah.
Every other Florida team, every other player on Florida's team that year was murdering
Yeah.
people and raping people,
Or dead.
stealing
Some
shit.
of them are
He
dead.
caught some CP accusations as well. Him and Kitna.
Yeah, they did.
Kitna was.
Well, Kidna's with
He had his-
Dilfer now.
He had his charges dropped. He plays
Yeah.
for UAB now.
Yeah, but we'll go through what happened over college.
I feel like you probably don't want to get yourself into a situation where you can even be accused of that.
No. But we'll go over college here and then flip on over to the NFL. But for Tulane, they got fucking killed by
Later.
Memphis here. So
It's
Later, Green
This
Wave.
is the biggest game in G5 history now. UNLV versus Boise State. There has never been a game that big.
When
between
you get in. Yeah.
Winner gets in. Winner gets in.
Friday night game. It's going to be a fun one. They got a night game there.
Well, Memphis, it wasn't a bad team either, to be honest.
No.
Memphis beat everybody except for UTSA, who every now and again sneaks up and fucking smashes somebody.
Memphis is a good program.
They could have easily gone undefeated this year. So that's not like
Beat Florida State.
yeah.
Oh, it's 8
Well, that's
overtimes in
not
this game.
so bad.
8 overtimes in this
What did
fucking
Florida
game?
State go 2-9 or some shit?
Yes, 2-9. So to the point about the overtimes, I don't disagree that it's a bad look to get taken to overtime at home by Georgia Tech.
At a night game.
But the number of overtimes I kind of don't care about because it becomes a coin flip after the second overtime.
Yeah. Which I don't like.
Everybody talks about the genius of Kirby Smart. Like, I'm fucking tired of it. After this game,
You can't argue the amount of national championships he's had in such a short
if you're going to
career.
judge Ryan Day against losing to Michigan, he's lost to Alabama. He's 1-7
Ryan Day
against
has
Alabama.
won 0 national championships.
But let's look at the Kirby Smart wins. They were fucking. It took a miracle to win every time. They played Alabama, who smoked them. Alabama smoked them by 30 in the SEC championship. They lost Jamison Williams to a torn ACL, top of the second quarter. Boom, game was over. What was it, a one-score game?
He'd have another national championship if Jalen Hurts stayed in the game.
Yeah. The miracles break both ways. Putting Tua in.
They do, but then back-to-back, Ohio State's up by fucking 90. Marvin Harrison gets hurt, no running backs, all that other shit, and then the kid misses a field goal at the end.
It's luck to win championships.
No shit, and nobody's gotten more luckier than he has.
Well,
and then he's lost to Alabama.
That's not true.
Every single time except for one.
That's not true. Dabo Swinney is so much luckier than he is.
Just two quarterbacks.
Because he had two generational college quarterbacks. He's never won shit in any other year that Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence wasn't part of that program. And
they're going to the playoffs.
Nor will he.
They're going to the playoffs.
Clemson will get bounced in the first round.
They're getting bounced by SMU.
Yeah, if Clemson loses to SMU, they are out. And
they'll be out.
Quit doubting my ponies.
I really don't.
But then the ponies will get knocked out altogether.
I really don't think Clemson.
I think SMU's in no matter what.
No. Did you look at the ratings? They're 9, so if they lose this, they are gone.
That's in the AP.
They are gone.
CFP ratings haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
But Kirby Smart's comment after this, of this 8 overtime game, the first comment he said was, man, I just ran out of 2-point conversion plays. It's 4th and 2. A 2-point conversion play shouldn't fucking matter at that point.
Well, it doesn't.
You're Georgia. Run the goddamn ball. I don't get it.
To be honest, though, when you get to that scenario where it's all 2-point conversions, Georgia Tech now has they have the advantage because they have Haynes King.
They have Haynes King. I don't know
they
how
have the advantage. So the fact that Georgia was able to hold on and win and stop Haynes King and then score, you got to give them credit for it.
He's a baller.
You do
Georgia has no defense then? They couldn't stop Haynes King?
No, they don't have any defense.
You're right.
Georgia's front seven is pretty good. They're probably top 15 in the country. Their secondary sucks.
Also, Georgia Tech's not bad. They have 2 really good wins.
They're okay. Look, these teams are okay.
Haynes King is a great player. This is the same as Oregon almost getting beat by Boise State at home. That's what this is. You have one great player, and he has a great game that game. That's what happened here. But it can only happen if your defense isn't what it's supposed to be. Oregon's run defense has not been great this year. That's been like their biggest, on defense at least. They're probably top 20.
Yeah, they're only giving up 15 points a game, so they're one of the top defenses.
They got gashed by a Heisman finalist.
Probably
they got gashed a couple times. I think they gave up a lot of run yards to Ohio State too.
But this game in the Ohio State made me the angriest over the weekend. Of like, get these teams out of my fucking face. Get Ohio State out of my face. Get Georgia out of my face. They're not fucking good enough.
Georgia's got a great resume and played the toughest schedule in the country by a mile.
Who's better than Ohio State and Georgia besides Oregon?
They don't. Ohio State doesn't have any players left. If Florida State got penalized for it last year,
this iteration of Ohio State, this current iteration of Ohio State,
but Florida State got penalized for the same thing last year. Get them out. Get them out of there. You have a committee for this.
Well, there's 12 teams. There's not 12 better teams than Ohio State.
Yeah,
what about SMU? If SMU loses this weekend, would you put them in over Ohio State?
Well, they're both going to get in, I think.
They're not if they lose to Clemson. Not according to these rankings.
Well, that's AP.
Well, the rankings aren't out yet.
They're not out.
Well, their FPI rankings have them at 9 currently. So where do they go?
They're at
because Miami's in.
What was SMU?
I don't think Miami's in.
They're in. They're going to be in. I'm telling you.
I don't know, man.
It's going to be brands. You're going to get Miami and Bama. I guarantee it. Ole Miss, once they ran the numbers, is better than Bama as well. Ole Miss is out of there because of the brand name. This is all going to be brand name bullshit at the end of the day.
My guess is SMU probably only jumps up one spot. I don't know how. Ohio State's not going to drop below SMU. Miami is. Miami's going to drop out of the top 10.
I also think you need to start considering the fact that SMU is going to be a brand name moving forward because they were for 40 years until they got the death penalty.
And they got money.
Yeah.
And they've got a fuck ton of money. And in this new era, especially with the performance they put on this year, they are a brand name team now. So keep them in.
But if they lose,
it'll be them or Clemson, right? Which are both technically brand name teams.
But if they lose like a nail biter to Clemson in the ACC
they're
championship,
sure.
I think they still get in.
But Clemson then would be guaranteed in, correct, with a bye?
And I think Miami's gone.
Clemson would not be guaranteed with a bye.
Why not a bye for Clemson?
Because it's the top 4 conference champions. So Clemson might get pushed for a 2-loss Arizona State champion. From
Or
Big
like
12.
a Boise.
Well, Boise would be a bye almost certainly. But a 3-loss Clemson team who wins the ACC, I'm guessing they don't get a bye. I don't think they should get a bye with that many losses.
So if Boise gets a bye, right, and let's say Clemson got a bye, or who's the fourth then?
Arizona State or Iowa State.
Okay, so that means Oregon then will have a tougher road to win a national championship because then they're going to have to play a Georgia versus a Boise State or a Clemson.
Or if they lose to Penn State in the Big Ten championship, they're a 5. Honestly, I don't hate the 5 seed.
No one does. That's the other fucked up thing. Because even, like, let's take my friends, and everybody's got their own friend group the next day, right? The second that fucking Michigan game was over and these rankings came out on Sunday, it was like, oh, sweet, man. So we don't have to play in the Big Ten championship against Oregon.
It's kind of a break, yeah.
You get a home game, and you get rewarded for mediocrity. Like, I don't agree with it.
Wait, so is it Penn State in the Big Ten championship?
Yes.
Penn State, Oregon.
Because they got beat by Ohio State less? Or what was
I forget what the tiebreaker is, but yeah.
It was points.
That's both of their only 2 losses.
Yep,
Okay.
It was points.
So that was their only common opponent, and Penn State was closer.
Correct.
Fair enough.
I mean,
Yeah.
Penn State easily could have beat Ohio State that day. They just can't fucking score. If Franklin wasn't their coach,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to be honest. So that one I understand.
But Oregon then is going to have to play a Georgia, these tougher teams than a Boise State or a fucking Arizona State or you guys see how this is going to shake out, right? They're going to play them in the first round. Mm-hmm. Oregon versus Georgia.
Well, technically the second, but the first game they play, you mean?
Well, if Oregon loses, yeah.
No. If they win, if they beat Penn State and they're the 1 seed, the way that it would shake out is they're going to have to play a Georgia, a fucking Bama, an Ole Miss,
A Tennessee.
a Tennessee.
I don't think Tennessee's very good.
I ain't afraid of Tennessee.
But still,
That's a reward, actually, to get Tennessee on your side of the bracket.
that's wild to me.
It's going to be fun.
If I'm an Oregon fan, I'm not amped about it, especially if this shakes out the way we think what's going to shake out here. Because I'm with you. It's a coin toss on the UNLV Boise State game. It's just going to be a fun, awesome fucking football game. That one I'm genuinely excited about because that's what it should be. You win your conference, you get in the playoffs.
That's a playing game. Yeah.
One of those teams is going to get rewarded. And that one I'm fine with. Ole Miss rolled. FPI-wise, they're better than Bama. They're better than South Carolina. They do have common opponents. They're going to get left out, unfortunately.
So Ole Miss beat South Carolina. They didn't play Bama. Bama beat South Carolina.
But they have a common opponent in Oklahoma.
And
Bama
South
got
Carolina.
rocked.
Okay.
Yes. And the Bama got rocked.
Okay,
And then
that makes
Ole
sense.
Miss,
Ole Miss should be above Bama.
but it'll never happen. We all know it. Colorado ended up winning 52-0.
None of those tiebreakers matter unless it's the conference championship situation.
Because you're going to have a committee sitting in a room saying, all right.
They'll look at that and Pepe Sylvia, sort of.
And you watch out for that Ohio State-Miami game. They're going to do a fucking bullshit rematch. It'll be at noon again on Fox. I can already see these ratings in their minds right now in that room.
I think you guys would butt fuck Miami. I would love
Yeah.
that.
It's not that. It's
because
do you
Miami's
even
defense
deserve
sucks.
it? Yeah, but it's even do you deserve it, right?
I think Miami does not deserve it. I right now do not give Miami a bid. They didn't make the championship game in their weak-ass conference. They should have lost about 4 fucking games.
Yes.
They did lose 2 games. Look, Syracuse is 9-3. Fair enough. Syracuse is a pretty fucking solid team, and it was a road game. Who's the other team they lost to?
Yeah, but here's the thing. It is and never has been like meritocracy.
I get that.
It's an entertainment product that ESPN's putting on. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're going to give you the best matchups possible.
In my personal opinion, if Texas beats Georgia on Saturday, Oregon beats Penn State, it should be the 2 of them for the national championship. Those are the 2 best teams all year.
Wait,
and
who?
then play it. Texas and Oregon.
Yeah, probably. Like if we're going BCS style. Yeah.
Yes.
That would be the BCS championship.
It would be the BCS championship, and then those teams really fucking deserve it. The way Texas manhandled Texas A&M that night, like those should be the top 2 teams. Those are the champions.
Yeah, but Sark's got to prove he can do that shit.
Well, he would have to prove it the national championship.
Then I want if we're going back to the BCS, I want my legitimate 2017 national championship for UCF because they were number 1 in the BCS.
I've always given that to you. You know that, right?
We're
on
the
this
Coley
show.
Matrix champs.
Before you got here, I have always given UCF that title, dude. After you beat Auburn, I was like, well, cool. You have a common opponent. Auburn beat Alabama
and Georgia.
Yes. Yeah. So what are we doing? Like I was with you before you got here. Notre Dame rolled. Notre Dame is going to be locked into this 5 seed no matter what.
Yes, they're got to be the 5 seed. And
they're
they
5 no matter what.
That's a value bet for a national championship. They're goddamn murder.
Notre Dame could legitimately win the Natty.
Yes. I think they're going to win the Natty.
I'm afraid.
That's where I'm at.
I'm afraid.
I'm not. The backup quarterback for USC threw for 360 and 3 TDs. Like I'm not.
It was never close either.
That game was never close.
It was. It was tied at halftime.
I think they got it tied in the second half.
Tied at halftime.
That game was never close.
14-14 at halftime.
Did you watch the game?
Yeah, it was 14-14 at halftime.
It was never close. Like Notre Dame missed on a couple of scores that they should have made. They just didn't execute. They executed in the second half and blew them out. It was never close. Notre Dame's good.
I do think South Carolina, just for the vibe, should get in. because they're the hottest team in the country.
You could say the same thing about Arizona State.
They don't
Those
deserve
two
it,
teams.
though.
I do too.
Well, at least
And
Arizona State can get in.
If
right?
you were sitting on that committee, that's what I would go with is vibes. I would rip out Ohio State because of the injuries, just the same way they did with Florida State. South Carolina is hot right now. I would put them in. And Arizona State, if they're able to win this weekend, bump them up higher. But that'll never happen.
But in no world should Ohio State get bumped for Indiana, right? Like Indiana shouldn't get in over Ohio State
No.
because Ohio State, with their current like offensive line that sucks, still destroyed Indiana.
I mean, Ohio State gave Indiana the best gift they've ever gotten.
a loss.
A loss.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
really a win.
Yeah.
They didn't have
Losing
play.
to Ohio State, and then Ohio State also losing to Michigan, which gave Penn State the leg up on both of them.
And now it's going to jack up Indiana in these ratings.
They don't have to pay any price for losing that game.
Nope. And neither does Ohio State. They get a home game. That's it.
Penn State does. Penn State's the
I'm
one
not
paying the
convinced
price
Ohio
for it.
State-
Yes.
a home game.
Penn State is paying the price.
I'm not convinced Ohio State gets a home game.
6, 7, 8.
Yep. So there's 4 home games in the first round, right?
Right.
4 home games. Okay. If Penn State loses the Big Ten championship, does Ohio State?
They're in at 6.
Does Ohio State get a home game over them?
No, they're in at 6. So
Okay.
Penn State is in at
If
6.
Texas loses the SEC championship, that's a home game for Texas in the first round.
Yes. They're in
Because
at
Georgia would get the bye.
Yes, because Georgia would get a bye. Notre Dame locked in
At 5.
home
yeah.
game for the
locked
first
in
round.
at 5. Yep.
So who else gets a home game potentially?
That's it.
Yeah, I guess Ohio State would have the lowest one, or
Correct.
the second to lowest one, depending on how they like.
Would they? Or would Indiana be ranked higher than them? Because
No,
they're not
because they beat
playing.
them, and that's the common. It was the head-to-head.
Oh,
But that
here, I'll
doesn't
give
have
you two
anything to
other-
do with CFP
I'll give you
rankings.
2 other possibilities for a home game, and these are serious possibilities. Miami getting a at-large bid, not having played, or if Clemson beats SMU,
Dabo's definitely.
SMU probably gets a home game round 1.
Yeah, that might work.
Yes.
Dabo's definitely, I guess, on the campaign to get multiple ACC teams in. To be honest, I don't think
If
They all
any
are.
ACC
Lane,
teams.
did you see Lane Kiffin's post today? It was about this long. He went through every fucking stitch of statistics today, and he was correct. And it was him versus Bama, of why he should get in over Bama. And he posted it on Twitter today.
They should get it.
They should.
ACC should be a 2-bid league if Clemson wins the championship. If SMU wins, I think it should be a 1-bid league. Also, hate that Clemson matchup for SMU. I think they would have been better off facing Miami.
Probably.
Probably.
I mean, Clemson's got a better defense for sure.
Yeah. Auburn, Bama. Didn't watch it. It was on in the background here, but it didn't appear.
It was never.
it?
Nah, they never.
I know it was 14-6 at halftime,
It was a
but I didn't
snoozer.
really
It was a snoozer.
get
Bama was
into
in
it.
control.
Arizona State absolutely rocked Arizona there.
ASU's getting hot
Iowa State beats Kansas State. So is Iowa State now playing for the Big 12?
Yes.
against Arizona State. Winner gets in.
Okay. Winner gets in. So Iowa State could potentially get in
Be a
the.
playoff
Yeah, that's
team,
gross.
Oh my God, dude. Come on.
Go Sun Devils.
If they win, they're in.
yes.
Yeah.
Go
This is
Sun
why
Devils.
Vegas loved UCF all year.
Is it a
because
bye?
They had 2 scored touchdowns.
Let me ask you: Is Iowa State a bye?
No.
I don't think the Big
It would be
12
the AC, probably the ACC
Actually,
winner.
if UNLV wins, I think the Big 12 gets a bye.
But Boise would get a bye over.
Boise wins,
Iowa
Boise would get
State.
the bye. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
I don't know. It's gross.
So Iowa State holding a bye.
Boy.
the Big 12 should honestly
If
do
Iowa
this.
State gets a bye, I mean, we should all just fucking end it.
We should
I mean,
sit
it doesn't
out.
matter because they'll get crushed in whatever their first game is.
They won't play till January at that point.
Yeah.
I
It'll
mean,
be
for
like-
real, they'll have a bye. So, like, yeah. Fuck. BYU, so they're out of it there. Did
Yeah.
they beat Houston? They're gone.
Yeah.
BYU's done.
All right. Missouri's obviously out of it. I saw Luther Burden declared for the draft today.
The committee is a bunch of cowards. They should put in South Carolina. They should put in Florida. Florida's getting hot. Just put in all the vibe teams.
I
now.
would put in. I would take out Ohio State. I would put in South Carolina.
What if we made it all SEC?
There should be 2 brackets, right? There should be the accomplished tournament and then the vibe tournament.
You mean
Yeah.
the NIT?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have our NIT in football.
Well, we do. It's the bowl games, but nobody wants to play those anymore.
They're
so,
also
like,
they're not bracketed though. Why not bracket the bowl games and add a second round of bowl games?
They're not making players play dumb games, right?
Yeah.
I
Hey, boys. Yeah, I mean, people aren't even doing the NIT anymore. The NIT and
No.
basketball is not the same.
no, and they're sitting out.
Yeah, teams are
teams
just
are
like
sitting out the NIT.
And then we get the CBI.
Yeah.
Really, the only reason to do a bowl game, and it is a good reason, is you get like 3 extra weeks of practice.
We get swag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the swag. But it's important, like the coaches actually value the fact that they are legally within the NCAA rules allowed to do the extra practices. I assume the NIT had the same idea.
But the fact that we're even that Iowa State even has a possibility to get a bye in the first round of the playoffs is what I hate about all of sports right now. I hate it in Major League Baseball. Golf has Live now. We've got the PGA and Live. NBA has this thing called the fucking NBA Cup, the Emirates Cup. Is anybody
happening in mid-season,
familiar with
right?
that?
No, I wanted to do something more productive than watch the NBA Cup, so I just flicked my penis for an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, the NBA,
Not even jacking
the NBA
off.
Cup,
I was just flicking
it's
it,
just
yeah.
4 random games throughout the year and then one scheduled one
Yeah, for
to
what?
decide the winner.
It's to
But
give
now they
the
have a
regular
shit ton of
season-
playing games, so everybody in the NBA gets into the playoffs now.
Same
like-
with hockey. It's 8 teams
I
from
know.
both conferences.
I know.
Yeah, but the saving grace about hockey is that the NHL playoffs are so goddamn insane. That
Yeah, they're
it's
fun.
just fun.
And there's no reason to talk about the NBA this year, especially with the way Sixers are kind of going right now.
So your team's not good, so you don't want to talk about it?
Yeah.
We don't have to. We can avoid that sport altogether.
Are they that bad that they won't get into the playoffs?
Yes.
We're
They're
terrible.
the second worst team in the league right now.
Really?
Embiid's not playing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They are the second worst team in the league to only the Washington Wizards, who, by the way, haven't had a winning season. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. No, that's it. Yeah,
Ever.
That's it. And that's a perfect way to
Since
go
they
to
were the goddamn Bullets, man. What the fuck?
Thank God for the Eagles.
perfect way to go to the ads. Wild thing is the NFL's been fun this year, where you're like, all right, cool, fuck. MyBookie.com is our title sponsor. Just got back from Thanksgiving, kids. Title sponsor of the show. Promo code Drinkin Bros doubles that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. We had a lot of these upsets. Even the fucking Michigan one, plus 21. That was fucking easy. So no rakebacks for me this weekend. Bob, tell everybody, though, about the rakebacks. I sat out the NFL yesterday because I thought it was going to be too close, and these games were close. Got it.
The Rakeback program's sweet. So if you are a regular player on MyBookie.com, you are in the MyBookie Plus Rewards program. You don't got to sign up. Doesn't cost you anything. It's just after a while you qualify for it. Anyway, one of the main features of the MyBookie Plus Rewards program, my favorite feature, is the Rakeback. If you have a bad weekend, they'll toss you some money back. Say, hey, we know you like to have some skin in the game. You don't feel alive unless you have a little money on the game. So here's a little money back. We know you had a shitty weekend. Go have fun. Go play with our little coupon for you.
Which is nice, dude. It's like airline miles right now. Go to mybookie.com. Use that promo code Drinkin Bros to double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Vegas will win out of all this shit because we're all going to be gambling more. By the way, record number of gambling this year. Money taken in across the board. Next up, we got drinkinbrostickets.com. If you want tickets to any of these events, they're fun, they're cheap. Some of our listeners took their family and their kids to see the Vikings game this weekend. Tickets are reasonable. The only ones that weren't were Texas A&M, obviously, and then Georgia Tech. But Friday night game up in Stanford is never happened, I don't think, in the history of that school. So yeah, nobody was giving up those tickets. But tonight, $36. That Bills game last night, Jesus Christ, they had so much fun at that fucking thing, dude.
Snow games all over the country this weekend.
Blast to watch. $36 if you're going to the Browns-Broncos game tonight over there. Next up, you got hardafseltzer.com. All right, kids. WeFunder is still up and at 'em. We're leaving 30% of the company open up to you still. It's still there. We're just leaving it there. WeFunder.com/hardafseltzer. You can invest and actually be an owner. That way, when you buy a 12-pack and go to your cities and drink it and promote it and tag us, at least you own the company. We are live in 12 states. Got a brand new store locator that is up on hardafseltzer.com. We are also shipping those Michigan cans now. We're working on the Illinois cans, but we're actually able to add another shipping facility in Michigan. So we have one in Texas. We actually have one in Michigan. That'll kind of split up the companies over there. Promo code Drinkin Bros still gets you 20% off if you want it shipped right to your house. If you're not in one of those states over there or one of the surrounding states, but yeah, grab a 12-pack for the fucking games here. We'll head on over to the NFL for the weekend. These games were fucking awesome, man. Lions at Bears. Ended up being fun.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams
Did his thing.
pulled a Will Howard there, and then just
Man,
What
I
happened?
wanted to give Caleb Williams so much props for that game because he's been playing well lately, and then that last fucking possession, I mean, not even possession, play. 2 plays, just What the fuck?
They
mistakes.
fired the coach.
Rookie, it's just
Good.
Eberflus's.
He needs a new coach. That guy had to go.
Well, the problem now is that he's going to have 2 coaches and 3 offensive coordinators in the first 2 seasons of his career, at a minimum, if they don't fire the coach next year.
Correct.
Which is exactly what they did to Fields, right? It's exactly what they did. Who's the other guy?
Before him?
Yeah.
Trubisky?
Yeah, Trubisky.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
thing, 3 quarterbacks in a row. It's like at some point you got to sell the team.
Yeah, the Bears are a poverty
Honestly.
franchise.
Yeah, you've got to get rid of I think NFL ownership should have the ability to force an owner out. I think they do, actually.
They've been owned by the same family forever. I believe like 100-year-old woman owns them.
Yeah.
They've been owned by the same family since the NFL was like a league of like seriously like boxcar hobos in the 20s. Like it's not a joke.
I mean, if you were a conglomerate company representing, let's say you're Budweiser and you own Bud Light, and people are doing stupid shit at Bud Light, you have the ability to, like, you're all fired. Here's new people to run that. I think you should. I think the league should definitely do that with the Bears. It's not good when one of your premier, longest-serving teams has been dog shit for 40 years.
Yeah, look at this nice old lady, Virginia McCaskey.
I'll punch her right in the face.
Meet Virginia.
So like ownership relegation.
Yes, like if you or at least the control of the team gets taken away, you can own it, do whatever you want,
Right.
hold on to it forever, but the control of the team goes back to the league, and so they hire a GM or something like that, because when one of your original teams, who's one of the biggest market teams as well, has been bad for 40 years, 4 decades,
It's a Chicago
you got to
thing.
go.
yeah.
She's 101.
Yeah, she's
I wasn't even
101.
lying.
Good for her.
Yeah, she's 101. That was the team.
Would you?
Yeah, you got to
For
at
the
this
team?
point.
For the team.
Yeah.
She's older than Jimmy Carter.
Be like, hey, will you make Belichick the GM coach if I bang you?
Yeah.
She says yes. The answer is yes.
Done.
Yeah,
You're a
you do it.
Chicago hero, by the way. That's free Polish sausage for life.
Yep. Yep.
How has nobody called that guy yet? How has no one called Belichick?
Maybe he's a dick.
Who cares? He's got 6 rings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
but
him
it,
on
might,
the phone.
it could be like a Parcells situation where they try to like restart his career and he just sucks.
Oh, like when he was with Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the question is how much of it's like future versus present, right? If you're trying to build a team, I don't necessarily know that you want Bill Belichick.
I don't
there.
think he's a good team builder.
I think you want Belichick. Maybe you hand Belichick the keys to a car that's ready to drive. You
Good
know, give him a
coach.
turnkey team, but you don't.
Well, that excludes the Cowboys then.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
in no way are they a coach on that team. Certainly, a good coach is going to make them better, but they will not be a contender. Now, you could get Belichick on that team today, and they're not a
The
contender
drafting
next
would
year.
somehow get worse.
Yeah, it would. Next up, Giants at the Cowboys. Cowboys were able to do it here. We were 3 for 3 on the day in those picks in Drinkin' Bros Sports. That was fun. Look, the Giants are just so goddamn awful. I feel bad for Drew Lock. Every time they bring him in, it's just on one of these dog shit
I think
teams,
half
and
the
it's
line
like,
was injured as well. Just get this man to a real team.
They got rid of
I
their
just wanna see it
franchise
once.
quarterback.
What?
They got rid of their franchise quarterback,
Danny Dimes.
I know.
Now he's on the Vikings there. Dolphins lost to the Packers. Zero shock out of anybody here.
Well, it wasn't Tua's fault. That's the shocking part.
No.
Tua had a good game.
No. And the defense held Green Bay to 43 yards here. It was a weird one. No real explanation for this other than
They
it's the
held
Dolphins.
Josh Jacobs to 43 yards, you mean?
Yeah, Josh Jacobs. Next up was Chiefs Raiders. How many times are we going to say this, dude?
You're going to be saying it all the way up until the first round of the playoffs when the Chiefs lose.
You think that it'll
I
catch
do.
up to them?
4 years in a row now. Count them. 4 years in a row, the team that has led the league in victories in single-score games has lost in the first round of the playoffs every year. And that's going to happen again this year. There's no way the Chiefs can continue this.
Well, if they
This was
play
a-
in the first round of the playoffs.
Right now they've won
whatever their first game is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
they
keep
lose.
getting away
It's
with
been
this.
Pittsburgh twice, and was it the Rams? I don't remember, and then somebody else. 4 years in a row. This is not a winning formula for a football team.
And by the way, this is another situation where it came down to a field goal. It was a botched snap right before the field goal that hit the guy's shoulder pad.
Your boy Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
I mean,
the worst Mexican.
This is the football equivalent of a baseball or basketball team that's built to win in the regular season. It's the Braves in the 90s. It's the Twins in the early 2000s, or Oakland in the early 2000s. This
Yeah.
is the way it is.
I just can't say that until they lose the fucking Super Bowl.
I know. I know. I can't either. I'm the same way, dude. I can't either.
Like I've
Four
been
consecutive
saying it.
years is enough data to convince me.
But
be
they're
honest.
going for their third in a row.
They got to stop at some point, right?
I don't know. Falcons lost to the Chargers here. Look, I told you this during the draft. You don't get Cousins. You don't get this coaching staff. You don't do any of this bullshit. He had 4 picks in this game. Now they're thinking about benching him to start Penix next week. Please do.
Why not?
Please do.
What if he balls?
If he balls, great. Then they look like geniuses. If not, fire everyone across the board. They're still in first place at 6-6 here. This is the worst division in football. It's another team. Get them out of there. They're
Buccaneers
fucking
are
losers.
Yeah, Bucks are coming.
Well, the Bucks, if they didn't have the injuries, they would have dominated. They'd be 11-1 right now. Swear to God.
Still got Evans, but
Yeah, Godwin's
Did Evans come back?
Yeah, Evans
Okay.
was not like out.
He had a hamstring, though. He was out for like 4 or 5 games.
Do you see they talked to Baker about the flag planting stuff and all the fights? We didn't even talk about the best part of college football, by the way.
The fight.
Which is the Ohio State police
yes.
fucking
Pepper
macing
spray.
Michigan players.
Well, they mace their own, too, to be honest with you. So people were asking me about that. That is an Ohio State thing. Like, the amount of times I got maced in college was... I can't even put a fucking number on it, dude.
What?
Yeah.
The Columbus police just have the green flag at any time.
I swear to God. And when they pull that data, anybody who went to Ohio State, when they pull that data, it is just all mace, and then the crowds disappear, and then that's it. We all get maced, and that's their go-to there. You can't do it on a fucking football field. But the planting of the flag, yeah, you're going to beat the shit out of somebody who does that.
That's
Yeah,
the better
there's a bunch-
alternative, though, for an Ohio school. Go with the mace instead of the bullets.
Yeah,
Instead of the
Yeah.
National Guard coming out. Yeah, there's so many people belly aching, people that I like and people that I don't like. RG3 is talking about it a lot. Herb Street's talking about it a lot, how they got to stop
What did
this.
they say, by the way?
It's like unacceptable. Everybody should be fined. Herb Street said any of the kids involved should be benched for the next game. Fuck all that. If you commit a fighting offense on my field, we're going to fight.
Yes.
That's what I want and expect out of my players.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck if we lose by 80 at home. If somebody comes and plants a flag at our 50-yard line, whip his ass.
Yes.
And so to bring
Like
it back
what the
around.
fuck? It's football. This isn't goddamn tennis.
But Baker Mayfield, you're right, was the one who invented this.
They invented it, and they asked
When I was at the game, yeah.
They,
What
they
did he
asked
say?
him about it. He was just like, man, some people need to learn to take their L. Just let the boys play. He thought that banning flag planting, because they asked him, should you ban flag planting?
No, don't ban it.
He was
I think what the NCAA did was perfect. $100,000 fines for 2 major universities. They won't even blink at that number, and that's the end of it.
Nope.
That's the end.
And it adds to the rivalry. It adds to the ratings and all this bullshit that
it's a fucking TV show.
That's all it is. That's all we're here for, guys. So that first half hour, yeah, let them fight. Fuck. Make them fight at a certain
I
point.
would say that probably don't have the state police use pepper spray against 19-year-olds. Probably. Right?
Well, these eyes, my friends.
Yeah.
These eyes have been crying.
I would probably avoid that.
For whatever reason, it is their go-to for
Where
20
the fuck
years.
are the coaches, though? Because, I do actually feel bad for those cops, because these are giant freak athletes in armor.
Yeah, and there's like 120 of them, and there's like 7 of you.
Right.
So
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
that.
What are they supposed to do? Like, the coaches need to get their head out of their ass and go get their guys. Like, the cops.
Ryan Day didn't do shit.
No.
The Moore guy did. The coach from Michigan did. Ryan Day didn't do shit. And you can get him the fuck out of there,
Ryan
too.
Day didn't do shit during the game.
Didn't
either.
do anything during the game. You can get him the fuck out of here, too, with the DEI hires of the Falcons. Like, get all those guys out of here. I'm all good. Back to the NFL. Steelers, Bengals, man. Russell fucking Wilson. God damn it. I hate him, but I respect him.
Bengals have no defense.
Bengals defense
I feel
sucks.
so bad for Joe Burrow. He's putting up like historic numbers.
What do you do here? What do you do?
If
You got
I'm J- if
Chase, you got Burrow. They're on fire.
If I'm Joe Burrow, I demand a trade out of that team. That franchise is never going to get better, ever.
He made the Super Bowl.
By accident,
Well,
No,
I think.
not by accident.
They should not have, like the Bills should have been in that Super Bowl.
well,
Or even the
Let's be
Chiefs.
fair.
I
Or the
was
Chiefs.
on a plane to Hawaii for that wedding that I went to, and I got on that plane. I was like, "Oh, the Chiefs will win. Like, the Bengals aren't that good." And I got off the plane, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened? This is insane."
I think
should have beat the Rams. He should have a ring.
I think other than Mahomes, who's by the way is not having a good season,
Terrible.
He's not having a great season. He's not having a good one either.
Bomb.
Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL. I think, all things considered.
If
you
you're
got to
looking-
put Allen up there now because of the way he's playing, and he's not. The one thing about Allen is he turns the ball over. He's not turning it over anymore. Right?
No.
So Burrow and fucking Allen are the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and nobody else is particularly close.
Burrow's numbers don't even sound real. 3,300 yards already, 30 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions in the NFL.
And they're 4-8.
That is fucking impossible. And they're 4-8.
4-8.
He's putting up numbers where like Brady was putting up similar numbers on like the undefeated team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're a blast to watch, but then there's no
numbers.
defense. It's like a Pac-12 defense for these guys, and it sucks because I'd love to watch them in the playoffs. But they're out. That's their 8th loss. They are out.
Home in January, eating a warm bowl of Cincinnati chili.
Unbelievable, man.
They're giving up 28.3 points a game.
The defenses.
Mm-hmm. The only people worse than them is fucking Carolina. And I guess Jacksonville's tied with them at 28.3, but nobody else is over 24, I think.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
dude, that's miserable. Cardinals, Vikings, same thing. Vikings won by a point again.
Comeback. They're now kind of big.
Yeah, I don't know how this team keeps winning, but they're 10-2. Colts, Patriots, who cares? Obviously, well, Colts are 6-7, I guess. Richardson has looked great since deciding to play football again. So yeah, who knows? Maybe they make it in that shitty division.
Richardson was not great in this game.
No, but they're winning. They haven't lost since he came back.
It's not a bad team.
I know it's hard to say what this is.
Yeah.
Like you got Taylor.
They're exactly what I think of like Indianapolis.
As a city?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a perfect representation of their town.
Just mediocrity.
Yep.
Just middle of the road.
Yeah.
Seahawks beat the Jets. Jets are now 3-9 here. They benching Rodgers after this. Is this all over?
Who's their backup?
Does it matter? I would lose out and try to get the best pick. They're 3-9.
Well, they're doing a fine job of that with Rodgers at quarterback. So I don't know if you change anything up. To be honest, you just let him. Here's what you don't want to do if you have a guy that's going to be a potential starter for you at some point or your backup next year. The last thing you want to do is break his confidence, letting him chew up all this fucking horse shit on the back end. Just let Rodgers lose. Fuck him. He's the one that tanked your franchise.
He's not coming back, right?
No, he says he wants to, and he wants to play for the Jets.
He's getting cut as soon as that last game is played.
Woody Johnson's not allowing
So
that.
does he just get the money then? And then that's it?
I don't know how much of his he'll get whatever's left guaranteed, which would be
He restructured, I want to say 36.
It would be some kind of signing bonus, probably, like a roster bonus or something that he may miss out on, but the rest he'll get. And
It's worth every penny. You get the cancer out of the locker room.
Yep.
Yeah.
You remove it.
Unfortunately, though, Salah was a good coach.
I think you hire Salah back immediately. I think you cut Aaron Rodgers and then in the same press conference say you hired Robert
And
Salah.
they've
apologize to him and his family.
You don't have to apologize. That is the apology.
9 straight losing seasons. Salah never had a winning season.
But he never had anyone. I mean, he never had a quarterback. He never had a shot, that guy.
Rex Ryan got to the AFC Championship twice with Mark Sanchez.
And Mark Sanchez, I don't know what was on his HUD, his heads-up display, but he just ran right into the backup. That butt fumble is the only time you remember it happening, but it happened all the time.
That's the only thing I remember him for.
Yeah.
I didn't remember him going to playoffs.
They got to bring back Rex.
He was really distracted because he was worried about all the 17-year-olds he was banging at New York clubs.
Yeah.
Rex is taking interviews.
You gotta
he's out there. He interviewed for the who was it? The Cowboys time?
Rex, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. No, not the Cowboys. It was some other fucking job, and he was close. I know he got close on one job.
It wasn't Atlanta.
No. It'll come to me. Next up, Redskins continue to roll. What happened with the logo there? They got it back, right? They're the Redskins again.
They're in good faith discussions about it, but we're, I want the name too. I don't just want the logo. I want Redskins, and I think they're working on that. That's what's the holdup. But they won't do it this season. It costs too much money.
Okay.
To change the logos for a team
mid-season, you can't do it.
I think they say it costs like $50 million.
So they could be the Commanders with the Redskin logo.
Yes.
I think it'll change back to Redskins entirely.
I hope so. But look, they're 8-5.
The point is,
in the playoffs.
The Titans have a top 10 defense in the NFL. I don't know how.
I don't either.
But and they
yards allowed. They give up a lot of points.
Oh yeah, they do give up. Well, the reason they give up a lot of points is because they turn the ball over on their own side of the field 2 or 3 times a game.
Yeah.
They did it in this game too. And look, Jane Daniels' job is to take advantage of that and put the ball in the end zone. He did. Brian Robinson is a very good running back. Yeah. Whatevs.
Yeah, they're in. They're
Scary
8-5.
Terry looked good in this game. He's got 14
2 touchdowns
or 8 or 9 touchdowns this season.
He's
now.
over 1,000 yards. Like they're rolling. They're in the playoffs.
Not afraid of the Commanders.
I'm not either. But
no, their defense is bad.
Their defense is bad. But for a rookie quarterback to take this team to the playoffs with new ownership,
Yeah.
And they got a ton of money to spend.
They've got money in draft picks, too.
They got everything, man. This is going to be
Quinn,
a rad team for the future. Dan Quinn is there.
People forget
Cliff Kingsbury's there.
People forget they traded away their entire defense and picked up a bunch of picks last year, and they're coming up in 25, 26, and 27.
I do wonder.
They got to build a good defense, but they got Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
If you can just get competent defenders on there, Dan Quinn will take you the rest
They have
of
a
the
great defensive coach. I don't know how long Kingsbury is going to be there, though. He'll probably be there another year, but he's getting like talk for college and pro jobs.
He is.
I think you got to Belichick him and talk him into staying for like 3 years.
There's a job available in Orlando right now. Anybody else's coach leave to become an OC? No?
No.
That's just me?
That was Chip Kelly. He also did as well. He left UCLA.
I'm very happy Gus is gone, though.
Well, Peterson's already down there, and he's going to be available after this season.
We're good on Doug.
He's right down the road. That Texans Jaguars game, it was on in the background. I watched that hit live. Man, that guy should be – there should be like a 5-game suspension for that. That was fucking brutal, dude, on Trevor Lawrence.
I think there's two things because the retired defensive dudes and current defenders would say, well, how do I know he's really going to slide? I'm already fucking in the middle of my tackle at that point. Fair enough. Here's how you know. The quarterback fakes a slide. It's not just a penalty. He's ejected from the game. I think you have to do it now.
Yeah,
if you're really concerned about his safety and protecting him, it has to be an automatic ejection plus a 1-game suspension. If the quarterback, because Patrick Mahomes does it all the time.
By the way, he did it again in that game where he faked to run out of bounds and then kept going for extra yards.
I think you've got to eject.
I'm with you.
I think you have to eject the quarterback for that. It has to be unacceptable because otherwise, no rule you make on defense is actually going to protect the dude.
I agree.
Even a 15-yard penalty would completely discourage it, I would say. Because anytime they're running, scampering.
But if you're going to eject the dude for launching the hit on him, you got to eject him too. I think that's my opinion. It's the only way to. It's the only way to stop that from happening.
Yeah, and I will say this though: that kid after the game was very apologetic, and
in the first part of his apology, he was. Then he blamed everybody for being racist.
I didn't hear that part.
He's a Muslim. And he had like free Palestine on his shoes or something like that. Like everybody talking shit about this is Islamophobic. It's like, no, we just don't give a fuck about your stupid bullshit, dude.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Was that what it was? Mm-hmm. Are you allowed to do that in the NFL?
I don't know. People just get fined like $10K. They don't give a shit.
Okay. Rams versus Saints. Look, Rams are quietly now 6-6. Mm-hmm. They got a shot at this. They're healthy at wide receiver. Yeah, man.
Great wide receivers, still a great quarterback, still a great coach.
Defense is suspect.
But I still wouldn't want to play this team in a wild card game.
Not a good first-round matchup.
No.
I would hate it, yeah.
Not at all. Buccaneers ended up winning again over there.
Barely.
They had to come back.
They sure did.
It was the last part of my teaser. And
Bryce Young
Bryce Young took the lead with 30 seconds left, then Baker took him down the field, got the field goal.
Yeah.
In overtime. Over there. Eagles versus Ravens. I was correct. It was fucking, yes. Dude, it was 9-0 to start the game.
Yeah, but that was 14-12 for like the majority of the game.
Got it. Okay, so I didn't watch the rest of this game because I had a child thing here. What happened, Delco?
We just pulled away. Defense is looking really good. We got up 2 scores. At the end of the game, they scored kind of a bullshit touchdown.
Yeah. But, this was not that close.
No.
The Eagles fucking from the second quarter on dominated the rest of this game. And the way they did it was what fucking Derek was talking about on the NFL show this week. When you have a guy that can run like that, your defensive ends can't do this. You can't envelop the quarterback because he'll sneak through, right? So you have to stay in front of him. The offensive linemen are going to try to push you to the outside, so you pursue him around the edges, and he's just going to sneak through one of those gaps and run for 25 yards. They stayed very disciplined. And look, they have probably talent-wise the best run defense I've ever seen. With all those Georgia kids fucking cramming up the middle.
Yeah.
They stayed disciplined. They kept their ends close. They kept their linebackers firing those gaps. They did a really good job at neutralizing him especially. And even fucking, what's his nuts? Why can't Derrick Henry just had it? He was okay. Mm-hmm. You know, they kept him. What Derek said was you need to keep Derrick Henry under 80 yards to win this game.
Yep.
He had 82 yards.
Biggest story of this game, though, Justin Tucker is broken.
He is. He's no longer good anymore. It was bound to happen. He's getting old.
It happens to every kicker.
It does.
It's sad. You got to put him out.
Vinatieri was the same way.
He did hit a 50-yarder in this game.
Yeah, but
it's more of a yip situation.
It's a yippy thing.
He's got
strength.
Yeah. And
he's missed like 10 field goals this year.
He's missed a lot.
Put him down.
Yeah.
Put him down.
Cut his leg off. Put it in the hall.
Also, the discipline of the Eagles again. So 19 passes for Hurts, 10 runs. Like that's staying within that system seems to be working.
Saquon.
It seems to be working, man. So I would stay with it. And then last but not least, that game last night with the Bills. Going back to earlier in the show, if we're going off of vibes here, can you just give us Bills versus Lions Super Bowl? That would be the ultimate, man. I would love it.
Where is the Super Bowl this year?
It is New Orleans.
Ugh, gross. I want it somewhere cold.
I wish.
Outside
they stopped
and
doing
cold.
that. They stopped doing
Yeah,
that.
it fucking sucks,
Well, the Lions
man.
aren't a cold weather team, so.
No,
they're in a
not.
dome.
Well, yeah. So the same with Minnesota. They're in a dome, but the baseball team isn't.
Right.
It's like, what
How
the fuck?
Listen, I got
They get
dunked
games
on.
snowed out all fucking April every
I got
year.
dunked on pretty early for my Heisman pick, but my national championship pick and my Super Bowl pick looking pretty good.
Did you have the Bills?
I had the Bills.
Okay. Who do they got left here? Let's look at it. They got the Rams. Oh, shit. After the Rams, they got the Lions.
Let's go.
Wow. And they're not going to flex that?
annoying.
It's a
That's not a
3:30
Sunday
game.
night
They're not
game.
going to flex that?
Come on. Yeah, he's gonna
Patriots,
see.
Jets, Patriots. So the rest of their season is easy. The next two games are tough for the Bills.
Yeah, they'll win 13 or 14 games.
So
yeah.
I think the Patriots, the Chiefs are really circling that Lions date and hoping the Bills drop another one because I think the Bills.
Yeah, we're hoping the Lions lose that. We're getting
Yeah.
back. We want that bye.
God, I'm looking at, let's see Josh Allen's numbers here. I heard they were talking about him MVP-wise.
He's the first player in history to have a receiving touchdown that they threw to themselves.
Yeah, wasn't that on that hook and ladder play, I think?
I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a hook and ladder play. It just turned out that way.
It just happened to be that way. But
But you're seeing more and more of that in the NFL, actually.
the wild thing is, I'm looking at Allen's stats because people are talking about him for MVP here. He's 700 yards passing behind Burrow, 10 passing touchdowns behind Burrow. God damn it, get Joe Burrow out of there. Get him out of Cincinnati.
Give Burrow the MVP.
Man, that
Fuck it.
sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Get him out of there. Get Burrow out of there. Tonight's game, though, typically I wouldn't watch something like this, but I'm forced to due to a potential tattoo. So let's go around the horn here.
Mm-hmm.
This is Broncos -6.5 against Jameis and the Browns. D'Anthony, who you got?
I'll take Browns +6.
Okay.
I think it's.
Oh,
just,
it went down to 6.
yeah, I think it's a one. Like the Browns defense is good enough to keep this super close.
Yeah, that over/under too, because both of these defenses have been playing well. Who you got, Delco?
I don't think you have to worry about tonight because I want to eat that dub.
Jameis.
Jameis.
Love to hear it.
Money line.
Okay,
Browns.
love to hear it.
What's the weather?
41.
Is it snowing?
Well,
Is
it doesn't matter. It snowed at the Browns Stadium.
James in the snow.
I know. I just want to know. I just
Yeah.
want to know what the type of game.
41. It's going to be,
I don't think there's any way in which this game isn't close. I would take the Browns to cover.
okay.
I don't know who's going to win. I think it's going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
There's no way Bo Nix tears up the Browns defense.
Yeah.
Very unlikely. There is some possibility that Williams has a good game running the ball. There's a possibility that fucking Cleveland runs the ball really well.
Mm-hmm.
They both have
Chubb's-
good.
Chubb's back.
They're good in different ways on defense. Like the Cleveland front seven is fucking good.
Yeah.
But their secondary, I don't know how good they are. It's because it never gets to them. You know what I mean? If the Broncos offensive line does a good job of giving him some time to throw the ball, that he could light him up. But I just don't see that happening, man. Fucking Garrett is on a mission right now. I don't know if he's auditioning to get the fuck out of there or what. He's
don't know.
29. It's like
it's time.
It's time for him to go to a good team.
Yes.
He's
gonna
he's
put it
one of
in
the
right
best
now.
pass rushers I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
fucking life.
Browns.
He's going to
money
be,
line.
I guess, almost, even though they won a Super Bowl with him, but like he's like Von Miller level of
Yeah.
like. But Miller kind of toiled in anonymity or whatever for a while on the Broncos.
After that 2015 one, or the 2014 one, yeah.
But even a little
15?
bit before
15.
that, before
Yeah.
Manning
Yeah, he
got
was there since 11, I think.
Yes, yeah. So
So-
he was there a couple years when they sucked, and then Manning was there, and he got to like be a star, and then they fucking sucked ass again, and he got to go to what? Was he on that Rams team?
Rams, yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's on that Buffalo team.
Yep.
Which has a very good chance of winning this year.
Yeah. I've got no choice but to go Browns money line, obviously, just because of what's potentially could happen to me. So yeah, and I'm going to be watching every single second of this game. Bo Nix, only 100 yards passing behind Josh Allen this year. What the fuck is going on there?
He's had some really good games.
Dude, Bo Nix is
Bo Nix.
before the draft, or like I guess after they drafted him, they were saying that when Peyton went to Bonix's pre-draft workouts, he fell in love. Was like,
Blown
oh
away.
my god, this guy's fucking incredible. And
we know Elway loves himself just stud at the combine.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, Peyton's the guy who was like, get me Drew Brees, right? Like he wanted Drew Brees. So the guy, I mean, he's I guess good at finding diamonds in the rough, so to speak. Like
You're talking about Sean Payton.
Sean Payton, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's some updates here. So Penix says he's ready, but he also believes Cousins will rebound. I do not, and I don't care about either. USC quarterback Miller Moss, transfer portal. We said that would happen, obviously. UCF lost their coach.
Yes.
We were talking about that earlier.
Gus
He went
Malzahn.
for a better job.
Where did he go?
He didn't go for a better job. He's about to get fired. He went to Florida State. He's the OC for Florida State.
Is he really?
After giving up play calling for UCF, our offense got better. And then Florida State's like, you know what? We need that man to call our
You're talking
plays.
about, what are you talking
boy.
about 2-9 Florida State?
Yeah.
Just to be clear. This is the
he was
worst.
about to get
Wow, dude.
This is the worst season that Florida State's ever had.
He went.
Why would you hire him
since
as
Bobby
OC?
started in the 70s.
Yeah, well,
right?
but
It
why
has
would
to
you
be.
hire Gus Malzahn as your OC?
Are you talking
Big
about
name.
national championship winning offensive coordinator Gus Malzahn?
Yeah, he's a big
Was
name
he the coordinator for?
Yeah, in 17, yeah.
for Auburn for Cam.
No shit.
Or in 17. What was it, 16?
10.
No.
Oh, was it? No,
Yeah.
it's 10. Yeah, you're right. Who am I thinking of?
Cam's Auburn, that was 10.
And then he
I'm
made
thinking
the
of-
national championship in 2013 with Nick Marshall.
yes, and
as a head coach.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Malzahn, not a good play caller anymore. He calls it like it's still 2013.
I don't give a fuck about if someone's a good play caller or not. Here's all you need to know about your college coach, probably your NFL coach too, but definitely your college coach. It's the same thing they say about generals. Amateurs study tactics, professionals study logistics. If your head coach is a play caller, is a tactical guy, you're fucked.
Yep.
You're fucked.
That's why your guy should have stayed the OC. That's where he belonged.
Ryan
he
Day.
was Ryan Day was good at it.
Yeah.
He was
look,
good at it, but those are not interchangeable skills. Just because you're good as a coordinator doesn't mean you're going to be good as a coach.
No.
Yeah, but Gus
Like
was a good recruiter.
Garrett was a good coordinator, not a good coach at Dallas. I mean, you can name a million of these.
It's
fucking
really
people.
so the way it worked in just to give a back to the general example, World War II. Eisenhower was the head coach. Eisenhower wasn't doing tactical shit. That was for Patton and everybody else. Eisenhower was just organizing and shit.
We're going younger though, so we might go down the street. Go get G.J. Kinney from Texas State.
Oh, man.
That's the talks. He was our OC in 2021. That was Gus Malzahn's best year at UCF. He was our OC.
I think UCF is a good draw for a very good coach. One, it's in a fucking cool city that's easy to recruit to. It's in the state of Florida in general, which is super easy to recruit
Yes.
to.
The Big
I would
And
call it
two,
the
it's in the
best
goddamn
recruiting
Big
state.
12, which is winnable every year.
Every year.
You get 3 or 4 good offensive players on your team and decent coordinators, you could win the Big 12 every single
Their
year.
only problem is the fucking alumni and the NIL. It is non-existent there, and if you don't figure out how to pay
my
guys,
dad's older than my school.
Half of their fucking alumni are NASA employees now. You
know.
can make it work.
I
You just gotta change things up and get those
SpaceX.
nerds
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah, I
NASA
I
and
don't get.
SpaceX.
Yeah, I don't
mean,
get it.
I told
Get-
them
get
they're not
Elon
getting $1
involved.
until Gus is gone, and Gus is gone. now.
Get
how
Elon
much-
involved. So the university, UCF does this. They're like, hey, you know what? They just come out publicly. Fuck all this DEI bullshit. Everybody that got in on DEI, you're expelled. Get the fuck out. And like, hey, Elon, can you come run some stuff for us after you're done with
Put
Doge?
the SpaceX on the goddamn helmet,
Yeah.
and then have him pay
Make
for
them your
everything.
NIL.
Yes.
SpaceX.
How much
Yeah,
money
I mean,
does
if-
Daniel Tosh have?
Yeah, Tasha has a good bit of money. I don't
Yeah.
think he cares about the program though.
He's a sports guy too.
He's
Wow, he
over
doesn't care
100.
about the-
He's a 100 million guy. People forget how many years that show was on the air.
Yeah.
And he was producer too. And it was around the world. What else happened here?
Oh,
the Bears said they're sticking with their GM, and he will lead the coaching search. That's not
Is that
great.
still Ryan Pace?
That is.
I'll give him credit. Is that I
Poles.
think he had a good draft.
Yeah,
this
Ryan
year.
Poles. Ryan
Poles.
Poles.
I think he had a good draft this year. Getting Williams and Roma Dunze in the top.
Yeah, if he
12
had
or
taken
whatever.
Jaden Daniels and Roman Dunze, that would have been a good draft.
Wasn't Daniels gone already or no?
No, he had the
Oh, that's
first
right.
pick.
That's right.
Yeah, they traded. Yeah, they wanted someone.
Speaking of which, in terms of breaking news, so the championship line's open today
for
college football. All the championship game
Conference
lines.
championships.
The
yeah.
conference championships. Clemson opened as a 2.5-point favorite, and by the next morning, it had swung to SMU minus 2.5.
Let's look that up real quick before we get off air. Yeah.
And I want to say, I think that's mostly just really rich, drunk SMU alums putting a lot of money on their ponies.
More than likely, this is the first time they've had a chance to bet on them, and since they got the death penalty, 25 fucking years ago. So why not?
Was it in the 80s?
Yeah, and it's SMU is oil money, like old school oil money. That's who goes to school there. So good luck competing with that.
All right.
I mean,
it would only be tech people that have the money to compete with them NIL-wise.
This is not a joke. They paid to be in the ACC.
Yeah.
For 7 years.
For 7 years.
They paid the money. Like they literally said, someone asked them, they're like, well, what are you going to do? Like, because you're not making any money off the ACC. You're paying them to be in it. And they were like, we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Clemson's trying to pay $130 million to get out.
To go to SEC.
Yeah.
And become, I guess, Oklahoma now.
So I'm looking.
You'll never hear about Clemson again if they go to the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
Never.
They're done. They're Vanderbilt at that point.
And by the way, pre-Dabo, Clemson doesn't. I mean, they had a championship in the '80s, but like, it's not some storied history.
It was 80 or 81. It was 81.
It was right before or after
because Georgia won 80, and then I think Clemson won 81.
Yeah, a long time ago.
So we're talking about
Bowden's kid was
43 fucking
okay.
years ago.
He was okay, but they would always be a top 10 team with a top 10 recruiting class, and then win like 8 games.
Yeah.
All right, so let's look at these lines here in MyBookie before we get off air. Boise State against UNLV. Boise State -4 in that game.
Love UNLV.
Okay.
Might as well.
You're not going to get any value betting on Boise.
Iowa State, Arizona State. This is a shocker. This is -2 for Arizona State.
Yeah,
I think Arizona State's a better
So do
team.
I.
I think Arizona State's going to beat the shit out of
So do I.
State.
I think it'll be close. Iowa State's got a pretty good defense.
This is the Matt Campbell resurgence.
They've never won 10 games ever.
I know.
Can I give you a bigger shocker?
They just did it.
Texas is favored over Georgia by 2.5.
It's hard to beat a team twice. And Georgia is going this way, and Texas is going this way.
That surprised me because
Take Georgia.
Georgia, that's a home game.
It is a home game.
It's a home game in Atlanta.
Is it Mercedes?
Yeah.
I think I take Georgia money line. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best value.
Another shocker. Oregon is -3.5 against Penn State.
No, that's about right. Penn State, I mean, look, the only way Penn State can win this game is to grind it to a fucking halt.
Yes.
That's the only way they can win this game. The same way Michigan did to Ohio State last week. That's how you win.
need
That's how you
Aller to
beat
run.
Oregon.
But you don't have the offense there. I just don't know how they score the points. Penn State's defense is elite. There's no question. But I just don't know how. I don't know where their offense.
You got to run the ball and convert on third down. That's it. That's all they should be working on right now is getting having your what Penn State would consider a chunk play is 5 to 7 yards, where other teams it's 15 to 25 yards. Right?
Yeah.
You got to get those 5 to 7 yard plays on first down. And then you have to fucking convert on third down.
Knock a couple possessions off the board.
All you need to do is get 2 or 3 first downs each possession, and you can keep that game within 1 score.
Losing the conference championship is so punishing because you're playing 2 additional games.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you got SMU at Clemson. You're right. This is swung all the way to SMU. SMU is favored -2.5.
I hate this matchup for them. I still am rooting for them, obviously, but I think it's the worst matchup. I think
they would have beat Miami.
Oh, they would have, and I would have smashed the over on that game too, for sure. But Clemson just has the type of athlete that Miami doesn't in terms of like in the trenches and shit like that, where I don't know that SMU has the boys. You know what I mean? Has big boys like that.
I haven't paid enough attention to SMU's line over the year. I do remember being at Clemson, Georgia to start this season, and Clemson looked like children playing against Georgia. It's typically speaking, that's not what I would have expected to see because Clemson usually has big dudes.
Yeah. So let me ask this: is Sunday then the day that they give you the things? Because the Army-Navy game, they only have 1 loss. They're playing Tulane on Friday nights. Mm-hmm. There's no shot for them at all for Army.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope. The winner of the Mountain West is getting in.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what could Army do to whomever wins the Mountain West. Is going to be ranked 15th or higher at a minimum. Even if absolute chaos ensues, Army has no shot of getting above them. That's the play-in.
The problem is, though, let's say they beat Tulane, and then they
could beat Tulane by they could beat Tulane by 80
the week after.
Yeah, but that Navy game doesn't matter. It's out of
Is Navy not? I mean, but Navy was pretty decent this year.
The bracket will already be out.
The bracket will be done by then. Yeah, so it's just like there's no amount of points they could beat Tulane by to jump all the way to jump high enough to make it.
So what do you do with the Army-Navy game then?
Fucking watch it. It'll be a good game.
Well, no, but is it just an exhibition then at that point?
It's always an exhibition. Because it doesn't count as a conference game for them, right?
No, it's a non-conference game, even though they're in the same conference now.
Yeah.
We'll run this, but right now Probably taking dogs here.
Dude,
for
that's
most
a
of these
good day
picks,
for
man.
dogs. And you should probably do a dog parlay as well.
Well, we'll do that on Wednesday.
Yeah.
mean, this
We'll
last
figure it out
week
on
was.
Wednesday. Yeah. It was, and most of them hit for all of us.
Syracuse, Michigan.
Yeah, we took Syracuse.
Syracuse coach talking a little bit of shit.
Took Syracuse, took
yeah.
Michigan, took who was the other ones? South Carolina.
The only upset we missed was K-State
Correct.
over Iowa State, which I thought
We called for Auburn.
Yeah.
That was a heat check.
Yeah.
Avery Johnson looked great in that game, by the way. Just the
till the
defense
end.
kind of let him down.
Yeah,
Yeah, until the
that's
end,
not
they
defense.
beefed it, but
Well, you know what's really brutal, by
how
the
did
way?
you can't give up 29 points?
Yeah,
to
we were
Iowa
talking
State.
about this
In
weekend.
our group text.
Imagine if Kansas State never pushed out Will Howard.
K-State doesn't push out Will Howard, they're playing for a spot in the playoffs right now. They do not have
They're
three
probably
losses with Will
solidly
Howard.
in the playoff.
What?
If they had Will
They're
Howard
at least
still,
11
they're
and
probably
1 right
solidly in.
now.
Yeah, like they fucked themselves.
Yeah, they would probably be in either way because they'd be an 10 or 11 win team.
Yep, they completely boned themselves.
And then looking at the Heisman here, I just want to see what the final numbers look like
Travis
here.
Hunter won.
Oh, my God, dude. He's minus 100,000.
Yeah.
So that's over. All right.
Yeah, the only other thing left to really consider is MVP in the NFL, I think, well, no, that's not true. Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to be a big one, too.
Yeah.
That one's close. The other ones aren't particularly close. MVP's close. I think Allen can, with 2 more good games like he's had, he probably closes it out.
And they've locked out everything else, so I'll just read the final 5 here on MyBookie. Travis Hunter at minus 100,000, which I've never seen odds like that in my entire life.
He has no more games to play.
No, but Jesus Christ. I mean, that is a guaranteed layup.
well, nobody-
Where Genty does. Genty could actually lead his team to a victory Friday night, first round bye for Boise State, and he could eclipse, what, 2,600 yards?
Yeah, but it won't matter because he's not going to break the record, and he's doing it in more games than Barry Sanders had.
Yeah.
He's not going to break he's not even come
Now,
close to the touchdown
the
record.
MVPs.
Travis Hunter has done something that nobody in the history of football has except for Jim Thorpe himself.
Yep.
Like back before football was competitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're looking at these odds that are locked already for MyBookie, you have your 5 then. Hunter, Genty, Dylan Gabriel, Shadur Sanders, and Cam Ward then, and those would be the 5 in New York.
But if it's minus 100,000, you got to bet $100,000 to make money.
Which I'm sorry, it's minus.
Yeah.
100,000. Not that I'm betting this, but I think that's the 5 then that will go to New York.
I mean, are you too good for a free $100?
Yes.
Put $100,000 down.
No. No. That's no.
Oh boy.
That's like tying your dick to the back of a moving train, hoping it gets longer.
Yeah, it's not.
The risk is too great.
It will
Well,
for a brief moment.
Yeah,
The
for
monkey paw curls. You
0.3 of a second, it will.
Fuck
and then,
that.
Then it tears off.
Yep.
All right, kids, flip on over to Patreon. Drinkin' Bros fake news going to get cranked up over there. There was a small story I heard about today, and see if we discuss it. Man, that's going to be a fun one this afternoon. You're definitely going to tune in to Patreon this afternoon. Don't forget to rate this show a 5-star and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star, and you can walk away at that point. Bet with us or against us on MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin' Bros doubles that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. For D'Anthony Holloway, Delco Dan, Hot Bob, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Monday Morning Recap. Good morning.